Hey guys, it's Harleywood. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know I got a Hudson H9. I've been looking for one of these for a while, and I even was toying with the idea between the Marlin 1895 and this. I got the Marlin first. If you've been following me on YouTube, you know that. But I finally got my hands on one of these. The gun is unloaded. My very first firearm was a 1911, and this is very reminiscent of that. I mean, from the way that it points, from the way that it feels, it really takes me back. Now the trigger, I would say if a 1911 trigger and a Glock trigger made a baby, that would be the Hudson trigger. There have been some very mixed reviews on this firearm. There have been some guys with very positive reviews, and there have been some guys with some pretty scathing reviews. True Exodus is one of them. I'll post a link in the description below to his. He had some issues with his gun. Now I will say that Hudson, being a fairly new manufacturer, I'm giving them a little bit of grace on that. I mean, look at companies like SIG, even Glock has had problems, and these guys have been around for how long? So I do know that Hudson reached out to True Exodus and has either made it right or is working with him to make it right. They, when they saw that I posted pictures of this on Instagram, they reached out to me and they said, any problems you have, please just let us know, we'll take care of it. But I did pay for this. Nobody sent me this, and they are a lot of money. So the hope is that they will be right from the factory. But again, a little bit of grace to work out the wiggles. I've put just under 200 rounds through this thing. I want to put a good 500 through it before it enters any sort of carry rotation. It's kind of a big gun. I don't know if it ever will in terms of its weight once you fully load this thing. Although I did carry the 1911 for years, so we'll see. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at this, including some footage from my first shots with it. Big thank you to Freedom Munitions for sponsoring this shooting segment. There is a link in the description below, as well as a promo code. They have remanufactured ammo, they have other manufacturers' ammo, just about everything you'll need. Check them out, link in the description. Weird that the mag is dropping home, the slide's dropping home. Let's see if it doesn't. Maybe with the bullet? Maybe it's slamming the bullet in there. It's loading the first round when it drops though. Like, it is. See, it didn't drop on me. You sure you don't have your thumb on that when you're doing it? Oh. Well, there it went. Didn't do it that time. First things first, the gun is unloaded. All right, when you buy one of these, first thing you're going to notice is the packaging. The packaging is absolutely phenomenal. If you've ever bought an Apple device, this will be very much like that, with the custom cut foam that holds the firearm perfectly. Everything has a place. It's not just thrown in the box. Even the magazines, the additional magazines, have cutouts for them, the instruction guide. Very, very nicely done packaging. Obviously some money went into the packaging, and that contributes to the cost of this gun. But Hudson is trying to establish a brand identity, and I can certainly appreciate that. They're trying to establish themselves as quality and attention to detail. And when you look at the fit and finish of this firearm, I get that. That is the persona that comes across for me. The fit and finish is amazing. So, some of the details. It does have Trijicon HD front posts. It does have front cocking serrations as well as rear. A great magazine release button. Unlike many other pistols like 1911s where you oftentimes have to reposition the firearm in your hand in order to access that, this you do not at all. It is perfectly natural to release the magazine without having to reposition your hand. We're going to get into the recoil housing here in a minute, but first let's talk about this trigger. You'll see the safety mechanism on the top there. Very different from most striker-fired guns that collapse in from the bottom. And when I was just sitting playing with this, doing some dry firing in the shop here, it obviously feels foreign. It feels different because I'm so used to a striker-fired pistol that has the more traditional one that collapses in from the bottom. But let me say this, when I took it out to the range, not one time did I draw the pistol, get on target, and start firing, and even realize that this went in a different direction, that it had a different orientation. Not once. Now, I have just under 200 rounds through this thing, and in those under 200 rounds, not one malfunction, not a single one. I will say, though, the magazines, and I had heard this, I already knew. In fact, the guy at the gun store that I bought it from told me the magazine springs are very tight. There's one that I could get 11 in, and the others I could only get 6 in at first. And he told me he was only able to get 10 in his, and you just got to kind of work it out. Now, if that's not something you're used to, just know that it's not that uncommon depending on the guns you buy. My Glock 19 wasn't really a problem. My Glock 30 was a tremendous problem. I think I only got 6 rounds in that one when I first bought it, and now it's not a problem to get a fully loaded magazine in that one at all. Alright, so it does come with 3 magazines, and they're actually really easy to get the base plates off. There's a big button on the bottom there. Simply push that in, and then you can slide your base plate off. So no big deal. I'm probably going to load these up with as many rounds as I can get in them, and then over time try to force in additional rounds to get these things fully loaded. Okay, let's talk about the accessory rail here. It is very low because of the recoil mechanism in there, and if you run a weapon light, it is going to position your weapon light very low. In fact, technically out of reach of a single-handed operation. Okay. Now, if you typically do a two-handed operation, you're not going to have that problem. But if you do like to activate your weapon light with your trigger finger, this is not really an ergonomic setup for that. So just be aware. And lastly, the price. These are going to be anywhere from $950 up to about $1,300. It really just depends on where you find it. On Gunbroker right now, I believe they're anywhere from $1,200 to $1,300, and that's just because they're hard to find at the moment, so people are jacking the prices up. I paid an even $1,000 for it at a local gun store. Kind of like with the 1895 SBL, I kept calling around trying to find somebody that had it, and finally I called a different gun store than I found the SBL at, and they had 2 of them in stock, so I rushed up there and got it.
New gun?
Yeah, that is my new gun. Is that cool?
See it?
Yeah, you can see it.
Can I hold it in the truck, please?
You want to hold it in the truck? Sure, okay. It's probably not going to be something that ends up in my daily carry. Subject to change, we'll see. Like I mentioned, it's a heavier gun. I do like the capacity on this, so that's a definite plus. I love the double stack 9/15 plus 1 capacity, and we'll see. Maybe it will rotate in and out. So far, I only have an outside the waistband holster for it because those are also kind of hard to find since this is a newer application. This one is from C&G, and there are inside the waistband holsters for this thing already. But as I mentioned, it's probably not going to be part of my my concealed carry, so I went with an outside for the moment, an outside the waistband. But that's it, guys. About $1,000, depending on where you find it. Super comfortable, shoots like a dream. I have not had a single malfunction, but I promise you, my viewers, I'm going to check in after 1,000 rounds, and I am going to let you know if I did have any more problems with this. So this is my, just shy of 200 round review. Stay tuned for the 1,000 round review, and I will be perfectly honest if I had any issues. So far, the only issues I've had is these are very tight, but that's nothing that's necessarily Hudson's problem. They're all like that, or many of them are like that. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below. We've got lots more videos to come, and we'll see you on the next one.